Hi guys, welcome back to another interesting video of MT Vlogs. So this is going to be the most awaited video of my channel, that is how to prepare for IELTS, which is a crucial steps for students who wish to study abroad. Now let's try to understand why IELTS is so difficult for many of the students, why they are not able to get into the desired brand in the first attempt itself. களி துள்ளிய காளிதன் காலில் தங்கப் பொன் சிலம்பு துடி கொட்டிய பானந்த பாட்டி. So in this video, I'm going to guide you through effective strategies, tips and resources to help you ace the IELTS test. So before I start with the strategies, tips and my personal suggestion and the feedback, how did I exactly score 7.5 in 15 days? Let's try to understand what is the overview of IELTS and what type of IELTS tests are there, and then what is the format of the test. So let's understand what is IELTS is, right? And IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System, and it measures your English language proficiency and it is accepted by many universities worldwide. Yes, there is another exam, Duolingo, which I'll get into it later. Some of the universities in Ireland accept Duolingo, but most of the countries, most of the universities in the world accept general IELTS exams. So now let's understand what are the types of IELTS tests are. First one is academic, second one is a general training. Most of you will be having a question or confusion. If I'm going for masters to study, do I have to go with a general or academic? Let me clarify that. So if academic test is being taken, that is for those who want to wish to pursue their higher education, that is nothing but masters or bachelors or MBA. And while general training test is for those who want to work or migrate to an English speaking country. I hope it's clear for you. So now let's understand what is the format of IELTS. It's very important, guys. Please listen to me carefully. So IELTS has 4 sections. One is listening, then reading, then writing, and in the last it's speaking. Also, there are 2 options to write IELTS exam. One is computer based, second one is a paper based. So I myself have given computer based because I found it is easier. The reason, I mean, it actually depends on person to person. I'm bad at handwriting. My handwriting is not at all good. That's the reason I thought of going into the computer based, because typing would be much easier. But if someone is okay to write and they're good at writing essays and everything, then you can go with a paper based. But there is no difference between writing in a paper and computer based on the level of difficulty. Both are same, but it just your preference if you want to go with a writing or if you want to go with a computer based. If someone has been working and someone has been using laptop on a daily basis, then you can go with a computer based, which will be much more easier and much more quick. So now let's understand the format of the IELTS in deeper part. First one, listening. So when you write an exam, the first section would be always listening. So when you go with the computer based, right? So even for the paper based, it's going to be the same thing. Listening is going to be the same thing. You will be getting one headphone. You don't have to carry your microphones or headphones or anything, AirPods, nothing is required. You just go there, you will have a laptop or a computer, and then you'll have a headphone. You just have to wear it and use it, right? So let's get to the understanding about how test will be and what is the duration of the test and everything. So if you go for the listening section, a duration would be 30 minutes, right? And in that there will be a 4 section with a different types of recording. That means there is a level of difficulty. Initially it will be much more easier. You will start with something called address filling and everything. Then eventually something called monologue, where 2 person will talk. Then someone will discuss about the project in the 3rd section. And the 4th section is comparatively difficult, but I don't feel that difficult, but still you can still do it. So there are 4 sections when it comes to the listening part. So let me give you some of the tips while you're preparing for your listening test. The first one would be practice listening to various English accent. So English accent as mean there are a lot of accents like British accent, which is comparatively little difficult. Then comes to US accent. So make sure that you're listening to this recordings and the test even before you write a listening test, because you never know what kind of accent you're going to get it. So that's going to be the point number one. So point number two, take a notes while listening to recording. It's very important, guys. Why? Because when you listen to a recording and you listen to a word, you have to write down that word, right? And the spelling is very much important. Even if you miss out a single letter, it's going to be marked as wrong. Even if something called plural, you have to write in a plural. You cannot write in a singular, right? So make sure that if you're listening and giving a test as a practice test, you make a note of it, of each and every spelling you write down. So third point, focus on keywords and the key phrases, right? So for example, if there is a long phrase is going to happen in your test, right, you have to make sure that you are with the recording from the beginning. Even if you miss one question, right, don't think over it, go for the next test, next question. So now let's get to the second section of IELTS test, that's nothing but reading. So reading, I personally thought it would be very difficult because it used to take a lot of timing. As in, if you take a test for the reading, right, it's gonna be a 1 hour of test, where again you will be having a different section and the level of difficulty keep on increasing, right? I personally thought reading would be very difficult, but turned out to be reading was very easy, right? So I'll give you a couple of tips. You don't have to worry. There are mainly 3 sections with passages and question answers. So there will be one passage you have to read and then you have to answer. So let me give you some of the tips for reading test as well. See, there is a general way of giving a tips whenever you go through any kind of a video. There'll be like there's something called skimming and scanning. That's nothing but quickly having a analyzing this passage, right? I don't think that is more efficient. I wouldn't recommend that. So what I have done is when I get a passage, right, regardless what is the question, I'll just go to the question quickly. Then I'll just underline some of the main words in the questions, and I try to read all the complete sentence of the passage, right? Whenever I find a good sentence or an important point or a letter, I just underline that. This helped me a lot. This saved me a lot of time, because when you do a skimming and scanning, right, you just read one question and just skim and scan in the phrase, right? Again you have to go to the second question, again you have to skim and scan. That's going to take a lot of time. So I would prefer you take a look on the question and find an interesting word and just read the passage and underline which are the letters are important, which are the words are important. And the second tips will be very much important, guys, because when I started initially the reading, I was kind of lazy. Like I'll just go to one section, I'll write down the exam and I'm done. Then again I'll look for some listening skill, or I'm go for the writing or speaking, right? Because I was not able to sit complete for 1 hour just to give a reading test. I think that is one of the mistake I think most student does. So later I came to know that I have to sit in one go and write down the complete text. So while you're doing that, I think you have to work on the few things like multiple choice, true, false and not given, matching heading. These are comparatively a little difficult when compared to other part of the reading section. And yes, you have to understand how to manage time efficiently. If you want to know that, you have to sit in one go and write down the complete reading test. Trust me, if you give at least 10 times before you give a main exam, it will be very easy for you. So if I have to give my personal opinion, I finished reading I think within 45 minutes. After that I was just checking all the answer correct or not. This was possible only because I have done practice test in one go itself. So I would recommend highly for you as well. So now let's get to the third section of IELTS, that is nothing but writing, right? So again here also you'll be getting 1 hour of time to write 2 essays. The first one is a task 1, second one is a task 2. Task 1 you have to write in 150 words and task 2 you have to write in 250 words. So coming to the task 1, it will be comparatively easy. You will have to write on bar graph, line graph, pie charts, etc. And there will be also a table. Table is what I have got. And coming to the task class 2, you have to write in 250 words. It's going to be a long essay. You will be given a specific topic and you have to write on it. So let me give you some tips for writing test as well. So one is practice writing essays on various topics again and again. If you're not able to write down, just type it and practice it and put it to the chat GPT to understand if it is really good or not. That's one of the good way what I have done. Secondly, you have to learn how to structure your essays with an introduction, body part and conclusion. So introduction will come here, body graph and the conclusion. You have to understand the structure very well before you give this exam. And the third point would be focus on clarity, coherence and grammar. I think this is very important. I think I missed scoring good marks in writing. I've only scored 6.5. The reason is because maybe there was a grammar issues, there was a coherence issue and a clarity issue. So I would inform you, I would suggest you to work on it really well. Do practice it. I haven't done much practice in writing, but you do practice it. Focus on the grammar really good. So based on the grammar, you will be able to score much better. So now let's get to the last section of IELTS, that is nothing but speaking section, and it was my favorite and it's comparatively really easy when it comes to compared to the other sections, right? And it's going to be the very less time. It's not going to consume your 1 hour or something. It's going to be the just 11 to 14 minutes, right? And there'll be 3 parts. One is the interview, as an introduction and interview. They'll ask you general questions about yourself and your hometowns and everything. Then they're going to talk about the long term, as in they're going to tell you one cue card. They're going to tell you this is what you have to discuss on. You have to talk about at least for 2 minutes, and the end there will be a discussion what exactly was spoken in the second part, that they'll do a couple of discussions, and it's going to be really easy. If you want to talk about some of the tips which is required for speaking section is practice speaking English daily, right? Try to speak to your friends, try to speak someone who's having a really good accent. And the second would be record yourself and listen for areas for improvement. I think this is something you can do it really good. So you just record your video and you yourself listen to it, then you'll be able to understand how effectively and efficiently you're able to talk English, right? And the third point what I can tell you is focus on fluency, pronunciations and confidence. See, confidence is a key. So I got a cue card which I was not even aware of. It's something like talk about noise. Talk about noise. I mean, like, what exactly I have to talk about noise for 2 minutes, right? Only thing what I showed is the confident, because it's like the evaluator will be like your English teacher, right? More confidently you talk, better the marks would be. Even if you don't know anything, just talk random things, because it really doesn't matter if you're getting to the point or not. All matters is your pronunciations and the fluency, and importantly the confident. Yes. So let me give you a couple of my personal tips, right, which you have to adopt before you give a IELTS test. Because as I mentioned to you earlier, if you are giving an IELTS exam, you have to pay 17,000 rupees. That is, if you lose it, you will lose it again and you have to pay once more, right? Because most of the universities expect at least 6.5 as an overall band, right? So let me give you some of the tips what I have made a note, right? One thing is importantly, start early as soon as possible. If you're planning for masters this year, I think it's pretty late, but if you're planning for the next year, try to plan it as soon as possible. Next thing is practice regularly. That is very much important. Next comes use official material. There is something called official IELTS practice tests and resources which you can directly get from the website. I think that's going to be the really good use. And then join a study group or a class. I have joined Shiksha. You can join one of the classes, live classes. Just try to get some of the points and understand how other people are using their mind to clear this reading or writing or a listening thing. So you'll be able to get an idea. And then would be focus on your weak areas, right? Don't just neglect it. Don't just feel that, okay, I'm going to score really good in writing, listening and speaking, let me chuck reading, right? Don't do that. Even if you score less than 6, it's gone. You have to give an exam once more, right? And after that, mainly important is take a practice test. As I told you earlier, if you're giving a test, try to give it in a one stretch. Don't directly give listening today, reading tomorrow and writing day after tomorrow. Don't do that, because when you get to the exam center, you have to give all of the exam in one stretch. Yes, there will be a little break in between, but there won't be any break in between the listening, reading and writing. There's literally zero breaks, right? And yeah, this is something you have to keep it in your mind. So let me give you some of the tips about the resources and tools what I have personally used, which has helped me a lot. The first thing is a book. So when you attend for the, I mean, pay for the exam, IELTS exam, 17,000 rupees, they will deliver you one of the book, that is Cambridge IELTS series, right? Which will be delivered to you within 2 days. Something you have to work on. Then comes, yeah, the some of the other books would be official Cambridge guide for IELTS, then Boron's IELTS super pack. This is one of the books what you can use it. And then comes the website. There's a lot of website which is available online right now, which you can make a use of. I personally made a use of Udemy. I'll just put the link in the description so that you can go for it. Then there is something called important is open source, that is nothing but YouTube links, which are very, very important. I personally use three kind of a YouTube channel which has helped me a lot. The first one is Sam and Ash. There is a complete comprehensive video where you can study listening, reading, writing, and speaking in one stretch. That has helped me a lot. Then comes, there's another channel, Academic English Help, and this is an amazing channel, guys. You have to look for it. It is really, really good, which has helped me a lot in terms of speaking, which has boosted my confidence to next level. And there's another one called IELTS 9. I don't think most of you are aware of this channel, but it's one of the good channel where there's a live exam is being given by that madam, right? So you can just go to this channel. I'll just tell you what videos to go through and everything, but she will give a live reading test so that you will be able to understand how you have to look for the question, how do you have to look for the answer, and how to verify if the answer is really good. So please make sure that these three channels you guys are thoroughly using. The last but not the least, this is very important, guys. The what you have to do one day before, a night before your exam. For example, if your exam is tomorrow, what you have to do, because a lot of you will be studying till 3 a.m 4 a.m, don't do that, right? If you do that, next day it will be very much headache for you, right? You'll have that kind of a hangover that you don't have to sleep really good, right? So some of the tips let me give you. Get a good night's sleep. It's very important. You have to go give an exam very peacefully. It's not like you learn something and same thing is going to come in exam. It can be a different thing, right? So make sure that you have a good sleep. Then comes eat healthy meal and arrive early. If your exam is at let's say 12:30 in the afternoon, please make sure you're reaching at 10 o'clock at least, because there is a lot of formality to be done. They'll take your pictures and everything. I'll get to it in the end of this video, how exactly the exam is going to be. Then bring necessary documents as your passport is important. That's the only thing you have to get it. Then stay calm and focus. That's much very important. And the final tip, guys, and if you guys are planning to take pen, book, and everything, don't take it. Only carry the passport. When you get into that exam center, they will ask you to remove everything: your watch, your book, pen, even your handkerchief. They'll tell you to take it off because there'll be a lot of cameras. All you need to carry is just a passport inside, nothing else, right? You just have to go there. Everything will be given to you. If you're giving a pen and paper based, they'll give you pen and paper. If you're giving a computer based, they'll still give you pen and paper where you can make a note of it. And yeah, that's it. You don't have to carry anything. Don't try to carry anything. Even if you get caught, they will debar you, and again you have to give another exam. So once you get into it, you just have to give your passport. They'll give you one token, and with that token you have to take a picture of yourself and go and sit in a waiting area. Once the test is ready, you have to go inside. There'll be a lot of computers. You will be given with one computer. You have to sit, you have to wear your headphone and write. One of the tips I would like to give you guys, the headphone is really good. Try to wear the headphone throughout your exam. Don't take it off after the listening test, because it has a noise cancellation, right? You won't get distracted if someone else is speaking, if the examiner is speaking and everything, right? I think this is one of the good tips what I can go through. I think that's it. I have covered all of the topics, all of the sections, tips, and everything. Whatever the contents I've told, I'm going to add it in the description. You don't have to worry about it, right? So that's it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope it was helpful for you. It's kind of a long video, but bear with it. Make sure that you watch each and every part of this video. And also don't forget to subscribe. That will motivate me to do further videos. Thanks so much.